No, he just got stuffed. Great job by Brett Williams, number 71, in that gap, along with Sandy Armstrong. Steve Rocky, number 99, well, he was in on the play as well.
You know, prior to the opening game of the season against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Joe Galat told the players this is the most important game of the franchise. Well, he also told them that tonight is ultra important, too, although he still feels that win over Winnipeg was the biggest one. Alan Reed takes the pass over the middle, gets to about the 29-yard line for a pickup of 7 on the final play of the first quarter, and it remains scoreless. The British Columbia Lions and the Montreal Concordes. We'll return with the starts to go. Montreal, this is run all the way by the Concordes quarterback Turner Gill, who appears to have a first down, but we'll wait and see what referee Ross Perrier has to say. Stop was made by Kevin Konar, number 31. Konar's been very active back there for the Lions tonight, as he has been all season. It is first down, Montreal. You know, we were just talking during the break, Leaf. There's no score in the football game, but it's been a good one.
Well, I've enjoyed it, and as the first quarter Chevy stats show you, the BC Lions with 96 yards total offense, and were not able to score any points. Shows you the Montreal defense playing pretty well tonight.
The pass was behind Nick Araki. He made a good catch with Nelson Martin hanging on to him and crosses the 40 to about the 41-yard line for a pickup of very close to 8 yards. This is a good catch by the big fella from Bishop's University.
Yeah, it's a great catch. He takes a good hit from Nelson Martin, but you know what else it is? It's a good call on first down. He's a big 6'6" target. Quick little look in. You don't see that too much anymore, but it's a play that can really give you some positive yardage on first down.
Donnie Matthews, who really has been under the weather himself for the last couple of weeks after their game in Ottawa. He picked up a virus, and Donnie's lost a lot of weight. As the handoff goes to Alan Reed, and Reed has another first down for Montreal, stretching his way to the 48-yard line before Keith Gooch made the stop on him.
And the youngster, number 60, Blake Nill, just did a great job taking the defensive end, Nick Hebler, down to the inside. That allowed Alan Reed to break it outside and pick up the first down. Nice job by the young tackle.
Alan Reed, since he's been in there in place of Rich Tomaselli, has averaged very close to 6 yards every time he's carried the football. He gives Montreal possession at their own 48.5-yard line. First down. Gill's pass was intended for the newcomer Spencer Jackson, but it goes incomplete. Jackson's an interesting case. Played with Johnny Bassett's Tampa Bay club in the USFL, coming out of the University of Florida, and he was an academic All-American. It was funny, Joe Galat was saying after the first practice, he was telling us how to run the plays.
So I don't know if I'm getting the wrong feeling from the sidelines here, but there's no score on the board, but you don't feel it's that kind of a game. There's been a lot of offense, and it's been a very interesting ball game.
Well, both teams have moved themselves out of poor field position and then have not been able to convert anything.
It's second down and 10, Montreal, inside their 50. Flags are down. This is going to be a free one, Turner Gill anticipates. The catch is made by Mike McTagg, and it was a great catch. It appeared as though Mike Gray was offside, and if that is the case, that pass will stand, and Montreal will have possession at the BC 47-yard line.
Offside, BC number 77, declined, first down.
That's another big catch with Nelson Martin draped all over him again.
Well, they get a good matchup, an inside receiver against a strong safety, and Mike McTagg does an excellent job coming back to the quarterback. That's the key here, because he keeps himself in between. Well, actually, it was Andre Jones who made the play, but that's a nice catch by Mike McTagg. One of the bright spots for the Concordes this season.
First down, Montreal at the BC 47. This is Wilson. Nice little stutter step to get away from Heveler. And then he gets to the 40-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards. Kevin Konar once again made the stop for the Lions.
Well, they know the BC Lions have got a great pass rush, and they've really been able to keep them off balance on this drive, mixing up the run and the pass, and it really slows those big old guys like Nick Hebler, Mike Gray down when you're running on first down, getting good yardage.
7 yards in that instance, and there's the man that Leaf talked about, Blake Nill, at the top of the show, who's in there at that tackle spot in place of Miles Gurrell, who was cut this week. The give is again to Wilson, and he just gets to the line of scrimmage, no further.
You know something, Pat? You talk about Gurrell and Nill. Gurrell is 6'8", 285, so you figure, well, you're going to give up a lot of size. Nill is 285, 6'6". You give up 2 inches.
They've both been well fed. There's no question about that. We're going to see Roy Kurtz now for a 47-yard field goal try by the Concordes, and if he's successful, we'll be on the board for the first time tonight with 11 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the first half. Jerry DiTilio will spot it right at the 47. Ball may have been tipped. It hits the crossbar. I'm not sure, but the trajectory of the ball appeared to me as though it may have been tipped going over the line of scrimmage. In any event, BC will have it at their 25 when we come back, so the game remains scoreless. The Lions and the Concordes, the two conference leaders. The Waltz pass is complete to Sandusky. They tried to set up the screen, but boy, it was read well by Miles Darling. The new cornerback on that side for Montreal, number 36, comes up to make the play.
Well, he was in training camp with the Montreal Concordes last season, did not make the football club, but stayed around. He did play in Hamilton against the Hamilton Tiger Cats this season, so he has had some experience, and Joe Gallat feels at 6'3", 200, and he is quick, that he's got all the tools to be a fine corner, and he sure made a play there.
They take Frank Kosick, who's in there replacing Ken Cianconi, out and insert Preston Young. But Phil Jones was blitzing, and DeWalt got away from him. Complete to Sandusky. He does not get the first down. Boy, there was good hustle there by Harry Skipper and also by Aaron Hill to get over and cover Jim Sandusky after he had made the catch.
These guys play zone defense so well. They know where all the players are, and if you'll watch DeWalt, he gets away from the safety blitz. That's a great athletic move, but so is the move by Harry Skipper here, and as well Aaron Hill, because they knew where Sandusky was, and they knew if he caught the pass, they still had plenty of time to come up and keep him short.
And so with Louis Pasaglia now having the wind at his back, Montreal sends two punt returners, Harry Skipper and Phil Jones, back to their 30-yard line to return this punt. Little fake by Louis there, as though he might pass off that, but he did boot the ball away. Jones takes it on the run and is dropped at the 41-yard line. So the Concordes are going to have half-decent field position as they take over with 10 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the half.
Leif, you were talking about zone defense, which the Montreal defense is primarily. It's an easier defense. It's not as tough as man-to-man, where you get hit a little more. Now, I'm just wondering which most receivers prefer, or is it the type of receiver they are that prefers a zone or a man-to-man?
As a receiver, just as we take a look, Calgary in Edmonton tomorrow night. We're going to have that game for you on the CTV network. I'll be out working with Dale Isaac and Al McCann. Looking forward to working with those fellas. But Bill, I'll answer your question right after this play because it is interesting.
Wayne Wilson simply was, or excuse me, Alan Reed, number 34, was not in a position to make that catch. A little swing pass to the back coming out of the backfield, so it goes incomplete. It's 2nd and 10.
As a receiver, working consistently against man-to-man defense really can tire you out because you really have to run a lot harder to get open. Against the zone, it's more to control your speed, find an open area, and stay in it. So, you know, I didn't have great speed, so I preferred to run a lot against a lot of zone defense.
2nd down, 10 yards to go. Concordes. Pass intended for McTagg is over his head. And after running all that distance, Mike is now going to have to drop back into punt formation. But Bill is right. Montreal does play zone primarily, and they play it very effectively because they've got some pretty good athletes back there who do react well to the football.
Yeah, I think most coaches around the league would agree that as a zone team, Montreal plays it as well as anybody. And I might just mention that Frank Rigney will be inducted into the Manitoba Hall of Fame tomorrow, and our congratulations to him. That's why I'm out there to take over for him tomorrow night with our fine Western crew.
Are there any more Hall of Fames for him to go into?
Well, I tell you, I think he's used them up.
Well, Leaf's going to see a lot of the country. He's here in Montreal tonight. Tomorrow, he'll be in Edmonton, and then on Sunday, he'll be with us in Hamilton.
I love the flag.
Montreal has recovered the fumble punt return. And they will have possession inside the BC 45-yard line.
Well, Jim Sandusky can't find the handle on the football, and it's Glenn Keeble, the center, that comes up with a big fumble recovery in the break.
So with 9 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the half, it's still scoreless. We'll be back in a moment. For Montreal, the Concordes have possession at the BC 43.5-yard line with a first down. Gill got away from James Parker. But Nick Hebler brings him down as he picks up maybe a yard or two.
I think he's hurt, Pat. Took a shot on that knee. Well, they're working on the shoulder or the arm area, it looks like, on that left arm of Turner Gill. Couldn't really see how it happened. Was hit by Nick Hebler going down the sidelines there, I do believe.
He was under great pressure from James Parker.
Ooh, you see the elbow kind of really bent there on his left arm as he put his hand down to cushion the fall.
Yeah, it's definitely, Leaf, I'm right here looking at him. It's definitely that left elbow. And the BC Lion doctor is also in, working along with the BC Lion trainer and the Montreal trainer.
Boy, he looks in a great deal of pain. You saw when the trainer touched the elbow.
Looks like when he puts that left arm down there, the elbow might have just dislocated out there.
Possible. I'll tell you, he has taken some tremendous hits this year, and a lot of people are really amazed that he has been able to come back the way he has, because if that doesn't make a guy a little nervous, I don't know what does. Well, now he's opening up the hand. Maybe it is a dislocation. He's starting to move the hand, the left hand, and he appears to be able to move it all right. They're moving the elbow back and forth, and so maybe it is a dislocation and they've been able to get it back in which case Turner would be all right. So he seems to be much better than at first it was feared, at least when we first looked at him, Leaf.
Well, Mark Stevens will come in, the backup quarterback, the rookie from Utah University, who was really impressive in an earlier game against the Hamilton Ticats. He came in when the Montreal offense simply wasn't moving the football and threw one pass, and it went for a long touchdown. So Mark Stevens, number 10, comes in, and we'll hope that Turner Gill is not seriously injured.
Well, Mark Stevens only attempted 23 passes so far this season. One touchdown to his credit, one interception. Not a heck of a lot of experience.
Well, let me tell you, they're very high on him, though. As a matter of fact, as far as Joe Gallat is concerned, he thinks that he can be a real fine quarterback in the future. He just needs some experience. But if this Montreal squad is to win, there isn't any question that all the cards and all the money is laid on the fellow who is sitting right now at the BC Lions bench, at least on the sidelines, by Turner Gill, with everybody working on him. Elaine Shelderman and Bill Reichelt, who are the two trainers of the Concordes and the Lions respectively, and Dr. Phil Lee, who is the doctor for the BC Lions. But now he is getting to his feet, and he seems to be fine. As a matter of fact, I just got the word from Coach Don Matthews that he's all right. Thank you, Don.
Well, Joe Gallat will be happy to hear that. You can see Joe is very concerned on the Montreal sideline. One thing about Turner Gill, who had a great career at the University of Nebraska, he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. As a matter of fact, some people are a little bit concerned that he doesn't show enough emotion one way or the other.
Well, I played with Tommy Clements, and he was exactly the same way, and it never bothered any of the guys that played with him.
Well, Tommy has had a wonderful career in the CFL, and boy, that Winnipeg Blue Bomber club is really starting to roll now. They have been so impressive their last 6 or 7 games. And what an amazing home record they have. 2 games, though, that all football fans have to be awaiting. Those are the back-to-back games, the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 2 games that will, in all likelihood, determine first place in the West. So it's 2nd and 10, Montreal, at the BC 44-yard line, and young Mark Stevens is in. He got away from the pressure good, but then he wasn't able to evade Andre Jones, who nailed him from behind.
Well, he came on the safety blitz, and I think Montreal has to suspect something like this. They watched the Winnipeg film last week. They saw what a lot of pressure did to Montreal. It's totally destroyed their offense, and they send number 32, Andre Jones, on the blitz, and he comes up and makes the play. It won't be credited as a sack, as Stevens did gain some yardage.
So Roy Kurtz, who missed a 47-yard field goal attempt earlier when the ball hit the crossbar, will attempt a 49-yarder. His longest this season is 51.
That's short again.
Short.
Yep.
And Crawford gets it out over the 15 to about the 18-yard line. So that's where the Lions will take over with 7 minutes and 39 seconds left to play in a scoreless first half. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are having a fine season, not only in the standings, but at the gate as well. And one of their great all-time rivals, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, will be in Winnipeg on Sunday. That'll probably be very close to another sellout. And we will be in Hamilton, where the Ottawa Roughriders will take on the resurgent Hamilton Tiger Cats, who look like they could very well go right to the top of the Eastern Conference standings. This is Kevan Jenkins, and Jenkins gets to the 20 for a pickup of 2 before Doug Scott is there to make the stop.
Well, we've just received an official report that Ken Cianconi does, in fact, have a torn Achilles tendon, and that is really a tough break for one of the bright young stars in the CFL. He's just been having a great year, 3 interceptions on the season, some fumble recoveries, and boy, oh boy, that's really, I feel badly about that.
Well, we were all such big fans of Ken Cianconi because he has been tremendous in 1985. Kevan Jenkins again runs into Doug Scott. And boy, are they doing a number in containing the great running back of the BC Lions. He has carried 5 times tonight for a total of 5 yards.
Not too good.
But it goes to show you just how fired up that Montreal defensive unit is. And they have played well virtually every ball game this season, with the exception of one game against the Hamilton Ticats when they had taken a physical pounding in BC.
There's Turner Gill. He's got the ice pack on the elbow, and the report is really much better than you could expect. It is just a bruise of the left elbow, so he could well be back in this game.
Harry Skipper from his own 45-yard line finds a little seam. And Skipper is finally pushed out by John Henry White, but he is in BC territory at the Lions' 42-yard line. A 43-yard boot by Louis Passaglia, a 23-yard return by Harry Skipper, and again, Montreal will begin in Lions territory.
And great jobs by Phil Jones and Preston Young to get just enough of a block to allow Skipper to get through. That's really helping your buddy out back there.
Pat, Turner Gill will not be back in this half, but he could be back in the second half after the doctor checks that bruised elbow, left elbow, at halftime.
Thank you, Bill. Mark Stevens at quarterback, and the handoff goes to Wilson. Pickup was about 3 yards, so make it second and, well, 7.5, 8 yards to go.
Apparently, we just had another report about Ken Cianconi's Achilles. It's torn in behind the knee, and yes, in fact, the Achilles tendon goes all the way up the back of the leg. So that's a tough spot because, you know, you're always bending that area. Oh, boy.
Mark Stevens firing deep. Touchdown to the newcomer, Spencer Jackson. Oh, did Mark Stevens do a job on reading the coverage and finding his new wide receiver, Spencer Jackson, for a 39-yard touchdown. I guess Spencer Jackson does, in fact, understand this Montreal offense.
Well, you know, he's got some outstanding speed. I called him the fleet-footed receiver from the University of Florida in our opening, and of course, I was just relying on the information from head coach Joe Gallant. He said this guy can fly, and he got in behind one of the better ones in the league, number 1, Darnell Clash. I can't really see how he did it. All I know, he was a long way in behind him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they released the coverage when they thought that Stevens was going to take off, because he was able to get by that initial rush by the Lions. Then he pulled up, saw Jackson breaking wide open, hit him on the dead run for the first points of this ball game, and they were beautiful.
Sure were. Well, Nick Volpe, our isolation director, just happens to have it for you, and going to follow Spencer Jackson downfield. Darnell Clash, as cornerbacks often do, reading the quarterback, and Pat, I think you hit the nail on the head. He thought he was going to run and just let Jackson go free. That's an easy one. Nice way to start your career.
And I'm sure that Johnny F. Bassett, watching back in Toronto, will be pleased at Spencer Jackson's performance, because he had him with his Tampa Bay Bandits in the USFL. But now he's with the Montreal Concordes, and the more than 25,000 on hand here tonight are pleased that he decided to join the club.
Well, it was that good punt return by Harry Skipper that got things started into good field position, and Oh, how those special teams do play a big part in the outcome of a football game.
We've got 5.5 minutes left to play in the first half. Concordes out in front now, 7-0. Mike McTagg with the kickoff. High, but not too deep. Kevan Jenkins from his 24-yard line is dropped as he gets to about the 34. Well, it has been now very close to 9 full quarters with the Lions not scoring a touchdown. That has to be cause for concern as you look, well, a little bit at Spencer Jackson. He's the man in behind that microphone.
Yeah, I think it is cause for concern for Don Matthews. They've just got far too much talent on that offensive football team not to be able to move it down the field. Roy DeWald, a wealth of experience, some great receiving core, Kevan Jenkins, and, of course, an offensive line that I believe averages somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 years experience. So it's really, I think, hard to figure out why they can't move the football.
You know, it's funny, you look at his passing stats tonight. Roy DeWald has completed 7 of 8 for 89 yards, but most of those yards came on that big play that got them out of their own goal area when he hit Jim Sandusky, who was flying down the touchline. There's the Montreal scoring drive, 42 yards, only 2 plays, because the newcomer Mark Jackson was able to gobble up a pass thrown by rookie quarterback Mark Stevens. And we've got Mark Hopkins down on the ground now. So with 5 minutes and 28 seconds left, the Montreal Concordes have a 7-0 lead. And their fans have to be pleased at what they've seen so far, because they are playing the club with the best record in the Canadian Football League. Joe Gallat, you know, he's such an optimistic type of guy. His only downer of this year, he was telling us yesterday, was the fact that they can't play well when they're on television playing out of town. Every time they go out of town, they have a bad game on TV, so that really limits the size of the crowd for the next home game. But pretty good turnout tonight. Very close to 25,000, I would think.
You know, he is a colorful character, Gallat. He's threatened, he says, to sue Winnipeg's David Shaw. David, if you're listening, he says he's going to sue you for calling him arrogant because that's defamation of character. And he says it's time that people were held responsible for what they say. And David Shaw has called Gallat arrogant. But now, we could get a nice little feud going here.
Well, you know, like, I think a lot of people thought Joe was just kidding when he said that, but I think he's serious about it.
No, not serious at all. I don't believe it. He had said that Shaw plays a soft corner. So Shaw was all the news in Winnipeg, of course, going into that Winnipeg game we did last week. But I enjoyed it. So it's good to get the blood stirred up a little bit between two clubs.
The BC Lions would like to stir up their offense. They begin with a first down at their 34-yard line. DeWald's pass is knocked down. He was looking for Mervyn Fernandez, trying to set up the screen. It was knocked down by Steve Rocky, number 99, a man that Joe Gallat says is finally healthy enough to start playing the kind of football that he performed last year. Steve's had his problems. He's been banged up most of this season.
Well, he's had the bad hamstring pretty much all year, and only 2 sacks for him. Has missed a couple of ball games, but he was an all-Canadian All-Star last year, and they really need him playing well.
DeWald's pass is caught by John Pankratz, and was he just drilled by Harry Skipper?
Well, Turner Gilpat, who has been knocked around so much, and we have seen him in the games where he has really been hammered, at BC, at Saskatchewan, now here tonight, the elbow. He just told me, he said, I'm going to be back in the second half.
That is the first down for the Lions at their 46-yard line. And this time Sandusky was not able to make the catch.
Good pattern to call on first down. They predominantly, Montreal, as we mentioned earlier, in a zone defense. You suspect that the corners would be laying off, covering their deep third of the field, and a down and out for 11, 12 yards is an excellent call by Roy DeWald. Sandusky just couldn't hang on to the ball.
Amazing. The Lions have only 1 first down in this second quarter. It's 2nd and 10 from their 46-yard line. And now they're going deep for Pankratz, but DeWald overthrows him.
Well, he sure read it right, Pat. That's the play you want. one-on-one, finally get a blitz where you get a little man-to-man coverage, and some of those speedy receivers have an opportunity to work deep downfield. Pankratz against Vince Faison, but DeWalt just couldn't connect. So once again, another drive stalls.
As you can see, 77 Hopkins is fine. They were taking a lot of time when he was injured in the sidelines, flexing that knee. But fortunately, there is no damage, so he was back in action.
So Phil Jones and Harry Skipper drop back to receive Louis Pasaglia's punt. And this will be Skipper from his 22. He drops the football, gets it back, and then tears off down the sideline. Pasaglia will have to make the tackle. He does not. It's a touchdown all the way for Harry Skipper. The man who made the big play against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the key game for this franchise makes another big one against the BC Lions. Harry Skipper goes 89 yards for the touchdown.
Oh, has he got these people in Montreal on their feet? Joe, you've got to be pleased, because that's just a fabulous play by Harry Skipper. You know, he almost didn't get this thing started. He couldn't find the handle, and as so often happens, the cover team relaxes a little bit, gets all bunched up, and Harry just broke it down the sidelines and makes a good move to get around Pasaglia. 89 yards later, Montreal has their second major.
And Roy Kurtz's point after is good. So the Montreal Concordes, who couldn't score a point against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, have 14 here in the first half against the BC Lions.
Now that's some kind of play there. Oh.
Tell you what impressed me, too. Tyrone Cruz gave chase, and he was very, very close to catching him. And then it just appeared as though Harry Skipper just had enough left to just boost it into one more gear, and he pulled away from him.
Well, of course, you and I have watched a lot of Harry Skipper over the last few years, and he consistently comes up with the big plays, and that's what they've been able to get not only from their defense, but from special teams all season long.
Got another Montreal Concorde player down. I believe it's Lloyd Fairbanks, number 66. And they're attending to him. It's a very warm night here in Montreal, but we've had a couple of serious injuries already. Ken Cianconi appears to be out for the season with an Achilles hurt. And quarterback Turner Gill is on the sidelines with an elbow.
It's an elbow bruise, Pat, and he should be fine. He could come back in the second half. At least he says he can. And the doctor says, well, he could probably come back. He wants to check him. But I don't know if it's just freak injuries or if they're hitting hard out there, Lee.
Well,
go ahead.
I think maybe it's a combination of both. Anytime you snap an Achilles, I think that almost is a freak injury. But let me assure you that both teams are really hitting hard tonight. This is, well, I think it's outside of that punt return, you know, it's been one of the better played football games. I think BC really got caught bunched up on that return there, and play you don't see them make too often.
You're absolutely right, though. When you see one of those long returns,